Yo, it's Trivelli. I'm back, and today we're going to be discussing whether or not the Miami Heat should trade Tyler Herro. And if they do, I'll tell you the only trade that makes sense in my opinion. Now, if you can, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe so we can get this channel out to as many people as possible. Also, follow me on Twitter and Instagram so you get my daily notifications for when I'm dropping videos, which is Monday through Friday, because I'm never slacking. Now let's jump into the action.
I'm living life like this. Maybe give a little glimpse, maybe give a little.
Okay, so a bunch of reports have actually come out recently, whether it's fans, magazines in Miami. They've basically been throwing shade at Tyler Herro, and now they're even saying that Bam Adebayo is throwing shade at Tyler Herro. So a lot of trade talk obviously coming around this time, especially after a sophomore slump with Tyler Herro, where it seems like he's more focused on the off-the-court lifestyle than improving on the court. But I wouldn't put so much stock into that if you're a Heat fan, because when players are hard on young players, this is a typical way of NBA life when you're just a young player starting out, especially if you play well. A player like Jimmy Butler is going to be like a father figure, try to get on you, be more difficult on you, say you got to get to practice early, leave late, stuff like that. And so if Tyler Herro is taking all this stuff to heart, I would be surprised. And so the fans always like to make a story out of nothing. But basically, this is what Bam Adebayo said when commenting on Tyler Herro's work ethic in a recent interview. This comes from fansided.com, all you can Heat. He'll get the chance to go against the best in the USA. So I feel like that's one of the biggest things that he can get, and obviously getting to watch like people's work ethic and how they go about their professional business. Many people have been focusing on the second part of Adebayo's statement, which references an opportunity to learn more about being professional. Now, this article is from Jack Simone, and so I do agree with some of this analysis of what his comment is. Like, he's publicly saying, like, dude, you had a couple good series in the last bubble playoffs, but besides that, you're not, an all-star yet. You're not on this level like me and Jimmy. So you need to continue to ascend, continue to practice. So I understand where Bam is coming from if he's saying, watch how people do with their professional business. Stop worrying so much about being in the limelight and doing all the new stuff with the Jack Harlow and all that. Now, that's all great, but, Bam Adebayo might not be actually throwing so much shade as people might expect. This is his teammate. What they say to cameras and to fans, you have to imagine he's very careful about. So if he says something like this about Tyler, I'm sure he's actually said this to his face before, and Bam doesn't seem like the kind of guy that shies away or is not honest with people. He's really cool and outgoing, so I'm sure he would go right up to Tyler and tell him how he feels if this was a real problem. So don't put too much stock in this fan-sided article, but it was just something to take a look at. Now, when we're talking about trading Tyler Herro, I'm going to drop that bomb right now. They need to get Damian Lillard. I'm not taking anybody else besides Damian Lillard or Luka Doncic, and I don't actually want Luka Doncic because not only do I think that he's more injury prone and he's more of a whiner and complainer and he begs for foul. Now listen, do not think I'm hating on Luka. He's absolutely at one point going to be the best player in the league, most likely in the next 10 years. I'm simply saying that I do not like him as a fit for the Miami Heat culture. That's all I'm saying. I think Damian Lillard fits that culture better. I do think Luka Doncic's phenomenal, and if we didn't trade Goran Dragic, which obviously we would have to if we're going to get Luka Doncic or Damian Lillard's contract, it'd be awesome to see those two guys from Eastern Europe playing together, but that's not going to happen. Listen, if the Heat are going to trade Tyler Herro, we need to get Damian Lillard. If we're talking about possibly adding Damian Lillard to our roster, which is most likely going to have around about $110 million in salary cap next year, you can look at the fact that the Heat are going to pay $36 million to Jimmy Butler. They're going to pay $28 million to Bam, most likely $2.7 to Precious Achiuwa. And if you're trading Tyler Herro, you no longer have that $4 million. If you're trading Goran Dragic, you're no longer having that $19.4 million. And obviously, the Heat would have to get rid of Andre Iguodala as well to get Lillard. That's going to be $15 million off the books. The rest of these players, like Victor Oladipo, Trevor Ariza, Bjelica, Udonis Haslem, Kendrick Nunn, Robinson, Dwayne Dedman, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, they're all free agents. And the way that I would build this, there's only pretty much one way to do it. You have to trade Goran Dragic, Andre Iguodala, Tyler Herro, and pretty much you're most likely going to have to trade Goran Dragic, Andre Iguodala, Tyler Herro, and if they want more, you might have to leverage one of the picks of the future, which are already decimated in the next 5 years. The Heat really don't have that much to leverage in terms of draft picks moving forward. But if they do get Damian Lillard, it's worth it in my opinion. You give another first round pick down the road, you get Damian Lillard now for 3 players and a first round pick, and your roster is actually not looking that bad. You'll have Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Precious Achiuwa sitting on the bench as a young rookie learning. You'll have KZ Agpala on the bench as well. You can re-sign Dedmon for the low. You can still have a decent roster with adding Damian Lillard. You're going to have Victor Oladipo walk. You're going to have Goran Dragic and Andre Iguodala traded. Trevor Ariza will most likely walk. Nemanja Bjelica will walk. You'll have Bam Adebayo under contract. Tyler Herro will be traded in this aspect. Precious Achiuwa, like we said, on the bench. Udonis Haslem, if he wants to come back, you give him $1 million. Kendrick Nunn needs to get a little bit of a pay grade if he's going to stay, so I can see them bumping him up to around 3-4 mil. Duncan Robinson also will get a pay upgrade, probably somewhere around 4 to 5 mil. And I honestly think re-signing Dwayne Dedmon, KZ Agpala, and asking Damian Lillard to take a pay cut would be a massive part of this transaction. And if he agrees to take a pay cut around the $28 million a year range, which Pat Riley is a mastermind like Darth Vader, he might be able to come in there and basically swing a trade out here where he tells Lillard, listen, come to the dark side, come to the east side, you will win a ring, you will enjoy Biscayne Bay, you'll enjoy all that stuff, and we'll give you 27 mil and you'll get a ring and you get to play with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. I do think Pat Riley would do something like that, and if he does take the pay cut, you guys can do the math. We can basically have a couple players on 2-way contracts like we did last year. We'll have 3 or 4 players making the league minimum, and then the rest of the roster is pretty solid. I think good enough to possibly compete for a championship. Listen, the only way I would trade Tyler Herro is for Damian Lillard. If you guys do agree with this, leave the comments below. If there's another player you would like to target, let me know down below, but make sure it's realistic. And as always, guys, the most important thing is have a great day. Peace.